Alison Sargent joins me on the set today for today's press review. Hi, Alison.
Hi, Jeannie.
Lots of reaction in France and in the regional press, particularly to the deaths of those 13 French soldiers who were killed in that helicopter crash in Mali.
That's right. Those 13 faces are on the front pages of many of the French newspapers today. 7 of the soldiers were from a helicopter regiment based in Pau, which is in the southwest of France. Regional papers, as we see here, paying tribute to them. This one is called L'Éclair. Meanwhile, Le Dépêche has a headline, "The Southwest is in mourning." They remind us that this was the heaviest loss for French soldiers in the Sahel region since they were first deployed there back in 2013. It's also the heaviest loss in a single incident that France has seen in an operation abroad in 36 years.
Not just the regional press, Alison, but also national press here in France has been paying their respects.
That's right. We see their photos again here on the front page of Aujourd'hui en France. The paper writes in their editorial that the fight against Islamist groups in the Sahel region is becoming deadlier and deadlier. Particularly, they remind us, for African soldiers. That makes it impossible, they say, for France to leave the region, but also harder and harder for France to continue alone the fight there, being virtually the only foreign power. France's Catholic paper La Croix, meanwhile, also laments the fact that other European countries haven't been helping France in the Sahel when they say, all EU countries are potential targets for jihadist attacks. And it has to be said that even the deaths of these soldiers isn't making front pages anywhere else in Europe except for France today.
Now, Europe might not be reacting to the tragedy of those 13 deaths, but papers in the Sahel region where the accident happened do have a lot to say.
That's right. Papers there saying that these soldiers died not only for France, but also for the entire region. This paper from Burkina Faso writes that the French army remains, quote, the only real deterrent against the forces of evil. Another paper also from Burkina Faso is wondering just how many casualties France is going to be able to take before public opinion in France turns against that military operation, especially because the paper notes that these deaths come at a time when no one is really shy about questioning whether or not this mission is still useful.
Another big story we've been covering a lot here on France 24 in Malta with the political fallout that's tied to the investigation into the murder of a journalist 2 years ago.
That's right. Daphne Caruana Galizia was killed in a car bombing back in 2017 while she was investigating corruption. 2 years later, Malta is in chaos. That's the front page headline from the Times of Malta this Wednesday. That's, of course, after 2 government politicians resigned and another suspended himself on Tuesday as the investigation into her murder intensified. We see the 3 of those men on the front page of the Malta Independent. The paper calls it Prime Minister Joseph Muscat's 17 Black Tuesday. Now, that might seem like a simple play on the phrase Black Friday. Why add the number 17? Well, 17 Black was actually the name of the secret company that was used as a vehicle to fund other secret companies in Panama that were owned by the 2 Maltese politicians who resigned on Tuesday. And in their editorial, the paper, the Malta Independent, says that everyone involved in this needs to go, including the Prime Minister. They say they can't imagine how he could stay on after his, quote, gross inaction for failing to remove these 2 politicians sooner.
Now to New Zealand, this next story, where the country is opening the world's first HIV-positive sperm bank.
That's right, Jeannie. Now, many people might hear that phrase and think, well, wouldn't that transmit the HIV to children? But that's actually just the kind of knee-jerk stigma that this sperm bank is trying to fight against. The New Zealand Herald reports that the donors are people who are technically living with HIV, but thanks to treatment, the amount of the virus that's in their blood is so low that it can't be detected, and more importantly, it can't be transmitted. That's either through sexual intercourse or from parent to child. One of the donors told the paper, I want people to know that life doesn't stop after being diagnosed with HIV and that it is safe to have children if you're on treatment. And that sperm bank's opening does come ahead of World AIDS Day, which is on December 1st.
Something much lighter now, Alison. An uproar in Ireland after the government spent €1 million on a printer.
That's right, Jeannie. And this was not just any printer. This was a giant €800,000 printer. The Irish government ordered it last year. You can see it here pictured behind me. It's quite huge, 2 meters high about and 2 meters wide, so you could fit both of us in it, I think, pretty comfortably. Unfortunately, though, the printer would not fit inside of the Irish Parliament. They had to spend another €200,000 storing the printer while they renovated the Parliament building. That put the price tag at around €1 million. The worst part is now that it's finally finally been installed, none of the staff want to operate it. They say that they need more training. My biggest question about this story, though, is I have to say why they needed this printer. What were they going to print with it?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, 3D printer, a car, something?
Yeah, something big.
All right, we'll wrap up now with one last story from you, Allison. We're moving into the darker months, and as we're doing so, farmers in Russia have plans to help their cows deal with the winter blues by using virtual reality glasses?
That's right. These virtual reality glasses would show them images of green grass so that maybe they think they're in a warmer season. It's a way of getting them to produce more milk during the winter months and to feel happier, basically to beat the winter blues. This report is from The Independent. They say one farm near Moscow has already started testing the prototypes, and they have seen positive results. It made the cows calmer and put them in an overall better mood.
Mood. Thank you, Allison. Allison Sargent with that press review. Don't forget, if you want to watch it again, you can always check it out on our website. The address is france24.com.